UFC 318, the final fight in the illustrious career of Dustin Poirier, goes down this Saturday. Let's give you a preview. But as always, with these UFC previews, I want to tell you if the card is worth $80 or not. And you know what? I think this one actually might be. This is a really, really strong card. I mean, the UFC loaded it up, and I don't think it's just because of the fact that it's Dustin Poirier's final fight. I think a big part of it is there's no real belts on the line. And the UFC loves having, at minimum, 2 belts on the line. Now, if you want to call the BMF belt a belt, fine, whatever. I mean, to me, it's a made-up belt. You know, it's a participation trophy. It's like this baddest motherfucker thing. The only fight that has really encapsulated the bad motherfucker of the BMF belt was the last fight with Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje, where Max Holloway's winning that fight. And he says, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go to the center. I'm pointing to the center, and I'm saying, we're going to stand here, we're going to trade, and then he knocks Justin Gaethje out. Like, that was the definition of a bad motherfucker. But let's call it what it is. Like, this is a made-up belt. But the UFC did a really good job with this because of the fact that they didn't have a belt on the line necessarily. They had to load it up with just guys, and they did that. So we'll start out with the first fight on the card. I truly can't believe this is the first fight on the card. I'm blown away, but Michael Johnson going up against Daniel Zellhuber, and I know I'm butchering his name, but that's horrible. Like, that's your first. Michael Johnson is the first fight of the night. I know I just said the card's worth $80. The card's worth $80, and this fight is worth it for Daniel Zellhuber. It's not worth it for Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson has taken a lot of what he said before he got his ass whooped by Justin Gaethje, and he's saying it now against Daniel Zellhuber. Daniel Zellhuber coming off of what many consider to be a candidate for fight of the year against Esteban Ribovics, split decision loss. Like, it could have gone either way. Both guys showed up and showed out. Both guys are definitely one to watch. This is a get-right fight for Daniel Zellhuber. This is a showcase fight because at this point of his career, Michael Johnson should not be in the UFC. Like, he is a journeyman fighter who I think his last fight he finally got back in the win column after like 2 or 3 years. But it's the same thing with Michael Johnson. Every single fight with Michael Johnson, this is what you're going to hear. Wow, Michael Johnson's got the hand speed for sure. Michael Johnson looks really good in this one. Oh, man, Michael Johnson's the fast. Look at that boxing. And then he gets clipped. And then he gets murked. And then he gets finished. That's what happens to Michael Johnson in just about every single fight. I mean, you watch that Justin Gaethje fight, and look, it was years ago, and Justin Gaethje is a totally different fighter now. But, yeah, Michael Johnson's a good boxer, and that is about it. And Daniel Zellhuber will finish Michael Johnson. We'll get back in the win column, and we'll humble him after talking a whole bunch of crap during media day. Yeah, that's one of my locks is Daniel Zellhuber. Get right fight. I don't know the odds, but I expect it to be pretty lopsided. I can't believe they're feeding Michael Johnson to him. I can't believe Michael Johnson's still in the UFC, quite frankly. All right, next fight on the card is Dan Ige going up against Patricio Pitbull. Dan Ige's stock went so up after he literally, like the day of the fight, says, you know what? I'm fighting today. Like, I'm going in there, and I am going to take on Diego Lopez, and I don't care. I don't care that, I'm going to do, like, I'm going up a weight class. Like, I can do that. And he looked bad. But the fact that he was willing to do it, I think, shined a lot of eyeballs on 50K Dan Ige. Unfortunately, in his next fight against Laron Murphy, and that's a big fight, he lost that one as well. Now, he gets right in his last fight against, Sean Woodson. Yeah. I definitely didn't look at my computer. Sean Woodson. But he gets right in his last fight against Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson actually reminds me a lot of Michael Johnson. Like, it's a good boxing stance and all that. And Sean Woodson thinks better than Michael Johnson. Not the point. I'm getting distracted here. Danny Ige's stock went up is the point. Patricio Pitbull, however, he comes over from Bellator, former Bellator champion. He's a little old in the tooth, but still really, really good fighter. And he gets fed Yair Rodriguez. Like, that's a tough opening fight. Because Yair Rodriguez is such a tricky fighter, former interim champion. And I wasn't surprised that Patricio Pitbull lost that fight. I believe I had that one for Yair Rodriguez because Yair is such a tough fighter to prepare for. I think Patricio Pitbull, however, gets in the win column with this one. I like Dan Ige. And look, if Dan Ige gets you on the right night, like, you're going out. There's a reason why his nickname is 50K. Like, he earned that nickname for sure. But with that said, I think Patricio Pitbull is just a much more rounded fighter, much better all around fighter. That's what I'm trying to say. Hit thumbs down for that. That was bad. But we'll see. I like Patricio Pitbull in this one. I don't think it's a lock, but I'm excited for this fight. I'm excited to see what improvements Patricio Pitbull has made for this one, because I feel like you're going up against a completely different fighter in this one compared to his last fight against Yair. Yair hits hands, no doubt about it, but Dan Igue's thing is like his punching power, and I'm excited to see Patricio Pitbull implement some new things for this camp compared to the last one, which was just a really, really tough fight. So I like Pitbull in that one, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if Dan Ige goes out there and starches him. All right, third fight of the card, and this one I am really looking forward to. Kevin Holland going up against D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. Kevin Holland should be the bigger fighter in this one because the fight's at 170, and Kevin Holland kind of fluctuates between 185 and 170. Always game ready. This is why Kevin Holland is one of my favorite fighters, because it seems like we just saw the guy, and we did. I mean, we saw him, well, God, a couple weeks ago. It seems like. Actually, let me look it up. All right, hit thumbs down for this. It is way, way late, and I have no. Normally, I don't like doing. Normally, I don't like looking over because it's obvious. I'm like looking stuff up, and I feel like it looks bad. I don't really give a fuck at this point. Yeah, he choked out Vicente Luque, but when was that? June 7th. So literally, 9 minus 7, 12 days ago. That's quick math for you. 12 days ago, he chokes out Vicente Luque. And I think what has been impressive with him is his last couple fights, his last 3 wins at least, have been via submission. They haven't been via KO. I mean, he came into the UFC as a KO artist, but he's developed so much where now he's not just that. Now he is a guy that will go out there and get you in a darce, which he's been known to do. I think he got Vicente Luque with an arm triangle. He's become a very all-around fighter. And I'm not saying that his wrestling defense is still there. He keeps calling out Colby Covington, and I think that Colby would actually win that fight, even though Kevin Holland would be the bigger fighter. I would see that fight going a lot like the Marvin Vettori fight, where Marvin Vettori kind of just held him against the cage. But I like this fight for Kevin Holland. I like it for the main reason why is just he's the bigger fighter, and I think he's the better all-around fighter. But Daniel Rodriguez is really, really good. I like Daniel Rodriguez a lot, and this reminds me a lot of the last fight where I could see it going either way. I don't really have a strong opinion on it, but I do like Kevin Holland in this one, and I like Kevin Holland by submission. I think he ends up clipping him, and I think he ends up taking it to the ground and submitting him and getting another one, and then looking over and saying DC, now I'm a submission artist or something to that effect. But Kevin Holland, I really think is going to go out there, especially when you consider the fact that Daniel Rodriguez has a lot of his wins via knockout or TKO. Kevin Holland has yet to get TKO'd in the UFC. He's been stopped via rib injury, but he has yet to lose that way. It's either been decisions or submissions for Kevin Holland. I don't see Daniel Rodriguez going out there and submitting Kevin Holland. So because of that, I like Kevin and Holland in this one. All right, next fight, the co-main event of the night. And when you're looking at the co-main event, you are looking at this is bad. Paulo Costa. Jesus. I totally forgot this was the co-main event. Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. The reason why I had that reaction is because I don't really know a lot of people out there that want to see Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa, apparently, how I talked about Kevin Holland being so focused on Colby Covington during the media scrums and stuff. Paulo Costa calling out Khamzat Chimaev for sliding into his girlfriend's DMs. As a guy, I get it. You're mad that this dude is shooting a shot. I think Paulo Costa needs to take a step back and realize, Khamzat Chimaev looks like that. But also, Khamzat Chimaev would take you to the woodshed. You're barking up the wrong tree. Let's just have some faith in your girlfriend that she's not going to go and relieve you for Khamzat Chimaev, okay? But also, he's way, way better than you. Way, way better. He would maul you. I think Paulo Costa was broken by Izzy. I don't think he's very good. I think he's a one-dimensional fighter. I think he's big. I think he's got punching power. And I think Roman Kopylov is a complete all-around fighter that is going to absolutely embarrass Paulo Costa. Roman Kopylov doesn't say a lot. He just goes out there, goes about his business, and wins. And I see that happening on Saturday. I don't think Paulo Costa is at championship level. I don't even think he's close to it. I think this is a fight to showcase Roman Kopylov against a guy that the commentators will be able to say, look, this is a guy that fought for a belt, fought for a belt, and fought a lot of big name guys, and they'll list them all. But he's not there anymore. I don't know if he's still training with Eric Albanian, the Henry Cejudo's coach with glasses. He's a really, really good coach. I don't know if he's still training with him. He was for a while, but even he couldn't get Paulo Costa to come out of it, and it's always an excuse with him. So I think Roman Kopylov goes out there. He's a really good fight, and then a very, very boring post-fight interview. Okay, look, finally let's get to the main event of the night. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier. I am torn. I'm torn for many reasons because I am such a big Max Holloway fan. I love Max Holloway. He is in my Mount Rushmore of fighters that I adore and never want to see lose. And yet, I don't want to pick with my heart. And that's my problem. So I think a lot of people are picking Max Holloway for this one because of the way that the last fight ended. I mean, it was such a badass moment, and it's an all-time moment for the UFC. But when you look at that fight as a whole, that fight was essentially over at the end of round 1 when Max Holloway broke Justin Gaethje's nose. And that changed the entire complexion of the fight. Because going into that fight, I thought, okay, Justin Gaethje's going to win this fight because what he's going to do is he's going to chop Max Holloway's lead leg down. Max Holloway comes out usually in a heavy boxer stance. He's going to chop that lead leg down, take off the power. Max Holloway will still be able to land punches, but he won't have a lot of power behind it. And Gaethje was never able to do that because of the fact he had his nose broken. He was never able to chop down Max's legs. Whereas we have seen Dustin Poirier do that to countless fighters, including Conor McGregor. He won he won the second Conor McGregor fight via leg kicks. I know that he knocked him out, but he set up that knockout by deadening the leg of Conor McGregor, deadening that lead leg. And it's a I feel like a calling card of ATT. Mikey Brown, his head coach, I feel like will come in there and basically tell him, look, in round 1 and 2, get your hands going, but make sure you're mixing in a lot of leg kicks of Max, and that's going to take him out of it. Max does a really good job of hiding the fact when he's hurt via leg kicks. He does a really good job, but at the same time, I don't think you can bank on Max Holloway breaking Dustin Poirier's nose and changing the entire complexion of the fight. With that said, the things that are going in Max Holloway's favor for this fight are the fact that Dustin Poirier has had a hellacious media schedule because of the fact it's his final fight and because of the fact he's in his hometown, Louisiana, some state of Louisiana. So because of that, you do wonder how much of a drain the obligations to do all this media are taking on him. Whereas Max Holloway comes in and he's just I just want to play spoiler. That's it. The other thing that I'll mention too is I feel like a lot of times Dustin Poirier kind of comes up short in some cases. The big one for me was the Charles Oliveira fight where everybody thought that Dustin Poirier was going to run over Charles Oliveira. I actually had Charlie Olives in that one. But it was it's Dustin's turn now to become unanimous champion. He's not going to be an interim. He's going to be the unanimous lightweight champion. And he lost. He's lost to Habib, Islam. Those big moments, he's just come up a little bit short. Now, there's big moments against Conor McGregor, obviously, where he looks great. And he did win an interim championship. But, as I said, those big moments, he's kind of faltered a bit. And I feel like for him, it's not like winning the BMF belt is the be-all, end-all for him. I don't really think he cares. But for him, the big moment is the fact this is his final fight. It's in his hometown. He doesn't want to go out with a loss. I just wonder if the pressure will get to him. My gut reaction is it doesn't. My gut reaction is this is a war. This is an absolute war. But at the end of it, you'll sit there and you'll go, okay, Dustin Poirier won 3 rounds and Max Holloway won 2. And Dustin Poirier will go out on top. I hope I'm wrong. And I want it on record. I was wrong about Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway, and I'm fine with that. I loved watching that fight. I'll watch that fight all day. I love watching Max do his thing. And I hate hate picking against him. But I just look at the way that the first fight that they had. I'm sorry, the second fight that they had. The first fight was years ago. The second fight that they had at lightweight, where Dustin, kind of beat the shit out of him. Now, granted, that was Max's first fight at 155. He moved up for that. Max has gotten his body right for 155 and all of that. But I just feel like the way that ATT is going to prepare Dustin for this fight will be very similar to, I feel like, how Justin Gaethje would have approached it had he not broken his nose. This is also, by the way, let me run through the card real quick. I like Daniel Zahuber against Michael Johnson. That is a lock right there. I like Patricio Pitbull getting in the win column with this one. I like Roman Kopylov against Paulo Costa. I like Kevin Holland. And it pains me. I will take Dustin Poirier. It's nothing against Dustin Poirier. I just love Max Holloway. Really good undercard for this one. Really good undercard. Brendan Allen, Marvin Vettori, I feel like that should flip-flop with the Daniel Zahuber, Michael Johnson fight. But I do know the UFC does this. Like, they'll put a really good fight as the prelim main event because they want a good fight for the prelim main event, and then the first fight of the actual pay-per-view card usually isn't good. But that's a really good fight. I like Brendan Allen that one. Marvin Vettori, I feel like, is decent, but like Brendan Allen's wrestling defense is really good, and that's kind of Marvin Vettori's bread and butter right there. I mean, Marvin Vettori hits hard, but Brendan Allen, I feel like I said this 15 times, is a more complete fighter. But there's a lot of good fighters on the undercard that I do fight card that I'm looking forward to. So I would say, this is a card where you tune in and you watch the entire thing. Hopefully, you guys win money. If you don't, just know we lost together. And yeah, it's a pretty good card. So I'm gonna go now and I don't know, like and subscribe. Subscribe. I don't care if you like it. Subscribe. I need subscribers. Yeah, so do that for me. Be nice in the comment section. Okay, now I'm gonna go.